Yo, what up, everyone? I'm with the boy Sommi. Yo, Sommi, that is a nice hat. Let me tell you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We are just finishing the US election. I am now going to put on my PulseChain necklaces. I think it's very topical here. It's been fantastic. I'm going to wear the hat, of course, making memes great again. It's
Bro,
the archetype of memes, cults, religions. Let's go, sir.
oh my God. I'm just saying, thank God she did not win. I'm just be flat out. Like usually, I'm like, I toe the line, but thank God she did not win. I am so happy. It really does play. We have hundreds of now pro crypto individuals in Congress. Like it's really good for
You know,
cryptocurrency.
very interesting about that as well. I've never been a political guy my whole life. I don't care. They're so boring. It's like really out of touch. Don't really care. But I was offended. I was offended that Clown Harris and the team, they didn't even try to bribe crypto. Like, if you watch my channel, I was speaking so much. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just copy pasted Donald Trump's bribes.
Yep.
And they upped them, and I thought I'd be making conspiracy videos about how they don't plan to do these; they just want your votes, but they didn't even do it. And I'm like, oh, well, that was anticlimactic. Okay, this is like, that's why I thought either this is going to be the rigging of our lives, worse than 2020, or
Yeah.
like I'm like, well, this is just the obvious most landslide everywhere, and like that's why this theme of what's happened. You see, how it was so obvious. I think it ties into crypto. I really believe these signs about, bottom signals, top signals, how we're progressing this 4-year cycle, macroeconomics and politics all tying in. I really think it's going to be more crystal clear now.
Yes.
Because like this, we're like, okay, Donald Trump said the right things and he just looked like he was in the lead the whole time. And what do you know? He was just in the lead the whole time. You know what I mean? So I don't think there was no like gambit card or trick or something that traps everybody out here. I think it was as crystal clear as we get, so it's a bonus for all of us.
I agree 100%. It was still too close for me to like, especially the fact that she wasn't even elected. She was appointed. Basically, you had that quasi coup, or I'm just going to say it, coup, where she basically became the appointee, even though during the 2020 election, she was so unpopular. And then she ends up getting over 200. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head right now. I think it's 226, but 226 electoral votes. That's still a very frightening prospect to think that the election was that close. But yes, Trump spoke at the Bitcoin conference, promised to free Ross Ulbricht on the day one, which I think is very, very important. He has changed his tone about cryptocurrency from his tweet in 2019, where he said he wasn't a fan of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So he has very even like World Liberty Financial with his sons. It's evident that we now have finally a very pro crypto president elect and soon to be president in office.
Yeah, I can't. I'm in shock. Okay, because imagine 4 years ago. I remember where we were 4 years ago. I remember I was hanging out with my cousins. We're in the backyard, and crypto was just starting to heat up, and they were asking me about Doge. You know what I mean? I remember exactly where we were 4 years ago. But I never would have thought. Look, can you imagine the US president? Okay, so I'm thinking about that moment and this first bursting going up, and then we got Elon. That was the run from exactly 4 years ago, November 2020. Then in October, January, February, it ran up enough, and then Michael Saylor started talking to Elon. He's like, hey, we can get in. And Elon was like, is there enough liquidity to do this? Do you remember? Like, Michael Saylor started shilling the bags. He was like the first one to do it. We just needed one, guys. Just one. It was just Michael Saylor who started tweeting Elon, right? And that's where it went. And imagine just trying to think about convincing someone back then. The US president is going to have his own altcoin, his own DeFi stuff, his own JPEGs, which is NFTs. Everyone jokes about it. A lot of the people in crypto, not us, but like there's a big giant mid-curve part where they're like, oh, but the token's trash, but this is bad, blah blah blah. Like, you're missing the whole point now. Crypto sells itself. You know what I mean? Think about this. Like, it's topical in America, right? America, the country, it doesn't need to go advertise anywhere. The entrepreneurial spirit, the golden goose of America, the amazing thing that America produces, it sells itself, man. You don't need to go convince anybody that it's good or bad. It just exists. That's the best part. I think that's the biggest advantage of crypto. Not a single one of us had to be really convinced. Oh, these things. The convincing is done in a bear market, which is actually when you should be convinced, when the prices are the cheapest and you can actually change your life. But you know, in one ear out the other, someone talks to you. Actually, what happens is, you know, we have exuberant prices, irrationality, extreme things in the world, and then that's how everybody finds their way in. So Donald Trump's like, oh, he's basically opened the funnel, man. It's kind of amazing. The Trump war room tweeted, mogged, right? Mogged. Like, dude, this is a meme. You know, like. Yeah. And by the way, Donald Trump himself is a living meme, and it's also interesting, right? I shared recently some content. It was about how it's interesting how Donald Trump, he's pro crypto, and forget the crypto part, right? So his spirit of being infusing pro crypto like vibes, it's gonna reverberate through America. I almost guarantee America is going to just really overpower the world in crypto in the next 4 years from this. Plus, Trump himself, he's a living meme. We have a meme. We have like meme coins and all these things appearing. He also, Trump, he says things, he triggers the other side and he doesn't back down, which I think is fascinating because in crypto, we are seeing more people get this confidence and this spirit kind of appear to really do that. And this was so strange, right? In the last cycle in 2021, that was the Biden presidency, right? And this is, I know, maybe I'm just connecting dots when they shouldn't be, but I just feel like the Soy Bankman-Fried and all the background evil things that were happening into the industry, I almost feel like it was reflective of that. And by the way, we end up finding from Soy Bankman-Fried, he ends up getting Roca Negra, all of them into the. So if you check the FTX, the ICO list, like he got Roca Negra, he got literally all the biggest. He got the R, you know, the one of the top biggest family, the R child family, like. How the hell did you get all these? You know, I think I'm not saying it's a clean world now. I just think like our cycles seem to like everything's like a fractal on itself, and we seem to be reverberating like the kind of spirit that these things are. I think that they're very, very similar. It doesn't mean we can't have these booms and busts. Of course, we will. Prices high and prices low, but I think more of us will be more in tune and more relatable to what's going on now, rather than all these background VC type of stuff that was happening in 2021, you know. Also interesting, right? It's almost like seeing PulseChain with our Sacrifice project. But at the end of 2021, we onboarded all the haters, okay? But it's like we got their money in the pool, but did you really want them? It turns out no, you really didn't want them, even though like I guess the Sacrifice treasury is better off for that, but we all really had to suffer because like it's almost like it's when you melt too many people of this, there's a price to pay. You know, maybe not having all the people in the world. Say, for example, it's kind of funny. It's like look at the America's immigration problem, right? We have it here in Australia as well. So it's funny. The same government, they're doing the exact same thing. Immigrate everybody, try to keep houses up. They try to buy the votes, and it just
that's exactly what they do.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. Do you know how blessed we are, by the way, Australia, America, everywhere, that we didn't have a world recession? Because if you go check Canada, okay, so I've got friends in Canada. They basically told me with Canada, I had a big immigration problem. Unfortunately, it got too bad. So the crime rate got so high, everyone had to put a pause on the immigration. The day they put the pause on the immigration, the property, the real estate in Canada, it started tanking down. And now they're in a strife position. They relied on the immigration for the asset prices to go up, but the crime rate is up as well. So America and Australia were starting to get worse, but luckily now things are being cleaned. So we might not be so lucky next time, but there's the price of these things to pay for this economy and how these things all get managed, you know. And crypto's basically we're just literally on this little sailboat trying to manage these things, you know.
I agree 100%. And like the FTX, you know, obviously, I mean, I think, you know, the FTX speaks for itself that it was funneling money to Democrat politicians. I mean, that just speaks for itself, the corruption. And not to mention the fact that you brought up an entrepreneurial spirit in America. And the only reason why entrepreneurial spirit in America is able to thrive is because of the private sector that we have. And my fear was that if Kamala Harris was going to come in, that entrepreneurial spirit was going to be siphoned by draconian oversight from a lot of anti-crypto individuals in the Democratic Party. Unfortunately, Elizabeth Warren won against Deaton. That's unfortunate, but at least you don't have the overarching ethos of the Democrats that would actually put us into a literal question whether or not entrepreneurial spirit in cryptocurrency in America would lead us And I'm very optimistic now because we have a pro crypto candidate, we have a pro crypto Senate, we have a pro crypto House. So it looks very, very bright. And I'm hoping that with this happening, the draconian oversight of the SEC is going to finally stop because, like you said before, like I never expected this in 2020 where you have a pro crypto candidate. I got into crypto in 2017. That wasn't even a thought because this market was so small. So now that you have this type of now you have this type of government, I guess you could say, approval of cryptocurrency, people are a lot more optimistic. And it's obviously reflected with the price right now. Like the second, Donald Trump wins, you see a Bitcoin all-time high, you see altcoins are rallying. I don't think that would, again, I can only speculate. I'm not a financial advisor, but I can only speculate that if Kamala Harris won, this bull market that we would have coming up would be suppressed substantially because of the fear of what is going to happen under this administration. And you're absolutely right regarding the recession. So I am curious to see how this reacts specifically for, because I know you and I are both very avidly involved in PulseChain. I wonder how this is going to affect PulseChain, PulseX, and HEX. I think that a rising tide does lift all boats. I think that it's very, very important. And now we have a very crypto-friendly atmosphere, especially with Ross Ulbricht being freed, hopefully. That was unheard of. And this is all a basically a quiet before the storm, I believe, for a change, for the positive ethos of cryptocurrency finally in America. But I am curious to hear your thoughts on how do you think this is going to affect PulseChain, PulseX, HEX, and the RH ecosystem, given the SEC case that's going on?
That's a wonderful question, sir. The American entrepreneurial spirit. So one thing like about America is you guys, like, you can produce an Elon Musk, adds 2 trillion market cap. You know what I mean? Like one dude, right?
Yeah.
But also there is like some parts around the world, they're a bit more wokey, they're a bit more helicopter parent. Like they don't like the other extreme where it's like, well, you're left, if you can't make it yourself, no one's gonna be really there to rescue you. You don't have a daddy state. But right. I think that, so this is why I think that previous government, just the spirit, it didn't make sense for America for me, because what I always knew about America was the downside is it's a business. It's like you lose everything. The downside, okay, we get that. Okay, but that's like life. You walk outside, what's the downside? Okay, you die. Okay, but the upside, because it's uncapped, it's like a wild, wild west. It's like coming to America the first time. It's like it literally is land of opportunity, and the upside is enormous. I think because we have Trump now, I think the upside, it might actually be bigger than this. And speaking specifically to PulseChain, with the recent court case, what shocked me was, because you remember we went through a 3-year bear market. All the conspiracies, there weren't even conspiracies. There was Operation Choke Point 2.0. They actually, like everyone knows, friends, that there are these CBDCs. There are all these things happening, but that they swing over time. Okay, when people get too rolled up, they pull back on them because they know, people are going to start going like loopy and psycho about it. So we've got to pull back. And it was nice to be seeing that just reverberate through Judge Aunty Carroll, where she speaks about how. So there's one thing in there, her language. It was really, really optimistic for me, where she basically said, Richard got the sacrifice. Whatever he does with that, that's none of your business, okay? So that, to me, that's like America 101. Like, hey, here's the deal. Here are the rules, okay? We're not going to go change the rules for you so it screws up for everybody else. Because if I change the rules for you, like there's all these businesses, all these market caps, all these GDPs of every single city. Like there's ramifications for all of this, right? And that's what I love with America. They don't sacrifice the whole system to basically to basically fix these little issues, or look after somebody. So this is just really, really important. So with PulseChain, PulseX, and HEX, I see it under that same camp where, it could have not worked. Okay, it could have gone bad, but I think the economy is doing well, stock market's doing well enough. We're not in that environment where the crowd is looking out for blood. You know what I mean? We're on the upturn. I hate to even use these cyclical type of references, because if you're looking at morality and all these business things and legal, it's like, what part of the cycle does it really matter? But we already know it's very, very hard to be completely independent neutral. Like imagine instead of 200 people who are coming in to support Richard Hart and PulseChain and also support their bags in the network, right? Imagine it was angry investors. You know what I mean? Imagine it was like a Soy Bankman-Fried court trial thing. So it might have been a different picture, but we didn't get that. That's why we know we have value. We could be able to see that, by the way, if that was happening. So with PulseChain, if we even speak for price targets, like the spooky thing is, it's like the charts have always said where we can kind of go. The valuations can always paint a picture, but the story to get there, that's always changing, right? I've always maintained, like, with PulseChain, so I always use this example, and it really is fascinating. Cardano, so Charles Hoskinson coin, a smart contract platform, had disabled smart contracts in 2021, and it still reached a 100 billion valuation. So it had 150,000 daily active users, 100 billion valuation. Yeah, so I know, like, I know. Remember in the bear market PTSD, we're all like scratching our heads, like, man, everybody talking about a 10,000x and all these numbers, like we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. When it comes to those numbers, we still truly don't know, because there's competition. There's a lot of dispersion of all these mind shares and all these other things happening out there. Everybody's competing for the same pie, but now we have Trump basically opening it up. Like, Trump liking crypto, I think a lot of people are underestimating it, because it now means that guy with like a $3 million stock market portfolio, right? He doesn't mind, hey, let me throw $100,000 into crypto now. You know what I mean? Like, but when they're reading in the news, that I did not know personally, I did not know people were actually like that, but they actually are. So people look at, oh, apparently this person doesn't like this thing, I'm not going to be in it, right? Whereas I'm always looking for value. I don't care what they say, but most of the world doesn't work like that. I think because Trump's given the tick to that, we just see an uplift everywhere. We see more entrepreneurial things done. And I think that, of course, there's going to be a bear market after. There's going to be people who took on too much risk and all these things. We didn't care about that. We want the price discovery part yet. You know, there's always going to be something that slows down at here. Like every night, oh yeah, the day's eventually going to end and you go to sleep, right? So yeah, I'm very optimistic for the future and all that. And I think as well for the PulseChain community, I think what everyone needs to see, I know what everyone needs to see. They just want to see people joining, prices rising. That's the same thing from Metcalfe's law. People joining and prices rising, they move the same without rigid streaming. Okay. Right. I think that would be like one of the miracles. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be the biggest confidence ever. It would be equivalent to when Bitcoin rallied after Satoshi left. So I forgot when he left, 2011, 2012, 2013. Bitcoin, it's funny, you want to laugh? You know, this is actually, this is live on stream, so I actually realize this. Satoshi left when he was at the peak of being called the cult leader. He actually left. He actually disappeared. He actually faded off, okay? So in 2011 and 2013, Wired article, they made 2 articles on Bitcoin, both on their rallies. They call it the cult of Satoshi. There's a cult leader, there's cult people. They're actually making jokes of them. It's exactly what everyone says about Hexicans today, right? Hex the better Bitcoin. They're literally running, oh, do you want your leader to come back and save you? Oh, you're trying to get this thing out? Oh, like, it's just really, really condescending stuff. And that's actually funny. At the height of that, Satoshi left. But then we actually go through and we pump. We actually have the biggest, it's funny, we had the biggest alt season mania ever. So he leaves in 2013. Or whenever he left. The next cycle was a John McAfee 2017 cycle. It was your first cycle, Corey, as well. That was when my cousins and stuff and everyone started getting it. It was actually the biggest cycle of all. Funny enough. So,
it was amazing.
Yeah, so maybe PulseChain, like, if it's like, that's what, see, Richard is the only guy in crypto. See, everyone in crypto, they look at Bitcoin, they go, oh, pet rock, let's move on. Okay. But Richard's the only guy, he says, wait. It's the highest asset. We should be studying it more, not less. So people just look at its functions of it, but Richard's looking at, hey, why are there people in the network? Why does it have that much valuation? What do they do? You know, finished product, all this other stuff. So that's the type of principles he's infusing into our chain. So it would be almost like spooky because he's trying to he says, remember, what was the meme at the start? This is your chance to get into Bitcoin early again. Okay. That was the meme. No, it was just a meme. And now it became a cult, right? And imagine, like, if Richard, remember the height of Richard cultish stuff was him twerking on stage. Do you see what it's kind of funny? So I agree. Yeah, if he fades off from there, maybe he gives us a stream at the very top of the cycle, it would be the Satoshi story again. You know what I mean? If it continues like that. So why I'm connecting these dots here is, like, what I've known is all these investors and people who make these big moves out here, like, if it's a really, really big successful move, they'll write a book about it. Hey, how did this billionaire make this big move or whatever? But the billionaire, they'll give you like 1,000 reasons why they connected the dots, but you can't really apply a lot of them out there. They're so circumstantial.
Yep.
You know, it's a right place, right time, right work ethic, right everything, and then you realize it almost seems like a unicorn of luck. But that's why if we can see what's happening now, it's our opportunity. It's our opportunity right now because it's our unicorn. It's our luck. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we were in here. Yep. We saw the call. You know, funny enough. Recently, so Ivan on Tech, he went through the post about Judge Aunty Carroll, and he was in shock. He's in shock. He goes, Sommi, where did you get this information that Judge Aunty Carroll was favorable? And she said, don't worry about the money. He didn't even believe. I'm thinking, dude, this cult, you understand? Like they're in the court. You know what I mean? Like he still doesn't know. They were in the court. They had Twitter Spaces live pretty much right after. Like this is it's just showing you guys. Like Ivan. Industry veteran, okay, very high value, very like esteemed, respected member in crypto. He's seen everything, okay? He's seen everything, and the Hex PulseChain community still shocked him. You know, like how do you have this information? Like, what do you mean how I have it, dude? It's streamlined. It's from but it's funny because they can't think. They go, but the price is so down, and the cult leader's not there. This shouldn't be able to exist. It's an anomaly. It's literally like seeing a UFO just land on the White House. Yeah, it's literally that's that. It doesn't belong there. You know what I mean? Like that's yeah. So yeah, very optimistic for the future. PulseChain, PulseX, HEX, all of them tying in together. Even all the bonding. I don't think there's going to be any losers. I think it's I want to share one more quick thing as well. I believe the theme of 2025. You know how Donald Trump speaking about his spirit and infusing stuff. I believe that. Because it's the greatest comeback story of our lifetime. Okay, the other one was Steve Jobs. This one's the next one. Okay, greatest political comeback story of our lifetime. I think the theme of comeback, resurrection, I think that'll be the theme of this cycle. So Hex, you can't go down from low on that. I think these types of things, they come back. I think we see people from the past come back. I think that's what we might see, friends. By the end of this cycle, we're like, everybody's back from the dead. Everyone's back with that. That's how I'm feeling it come back. Maybe when Richard comes and does a stream. I'm seeing all these. It seems to all be lining up, you know? So that's where we take it from here.
No, that's very, very well said. And one thing I really love that you brought up is Cardano. So the reason why I bring this up is this. I see a lot of interesting parallels between the Cardano community and the Hex and PulseChain community. Charles Hoskinson basically came out a couple days ago and said, listen, like, I'm sick and tired of the constant attacks against me. I'm going to be communicating differently. I'm not going to be as active on Twitter. And this caused a lot, and he put a poll, you know, whether Charles Hoskinson is a cancer to Cardano or not. And I believe the poll was heavily botted against him. But, you know, it begs the question, you know, when is a community when is a community powerful enough to stand on its own 2 feet without its leader being the hierarchical figure that's so powerful that the determining factor on whether that project prospers is deterministic on their I guess you could say constant appearance. And to bring that back to, and I think Cardano has passed that. I hope Charles stays. I love Charles. I've had Charles on my channel 3 times. He's a great man. He's a great innovator. He's a pioneer of cryptocurrency. I love him, and I hope he comes back and doesn't listen to all of the anger and animosity against him. I think that Cardano is able to stand on its 2 feet. And I think PulseChain is now going through the same thing, where it's like, all right, Richard basically has not streamed for quite some time now. I think it's almost, I don't know when his last stream was, maybe 2 years ago almost now. And, you know, to me personally, it's begging the question now, how does PulseChain continue to grow where Richard Hart, though it's beneficial for his involvement and to be constantly around, that we don't need him and we are able to grow this chain without the constant hierarchical, almost deified persona of Richard Hart. And I think PulseChain is going through that test now. Are people going to stay? Are people going to go to other ecosystems and forget about this altogether? And the funny part is, you're starting to see some OGs come back, and I'm talking about one specifically, and I'm sure you saw it as well. Rackham Rishel, he is back now, explaining why he left Twitter, what exactly happened. So you're seeing that confidence slowly come back, I think, in the PulseChain and HEX ecosystem without the need of Richard constantly streaming for reassurance. I say this as a rhetorical question, but do you really have a strong ecosystem if you constantly need reassurance through a stream or a video from a leader? That really is a question that needs to be answered by the community as the community needs to grow. Because if the community is growing without the need of of a leader, well, then you have solidified yourself as a legitimate project. I mean,
Mm.
CZ went to jail for 4 months, and Binance stood on its own 2 feet. Binance, is still a top five cryptocurrency. So I think PulseChain needs to go through that test of time as well and grow and be able to stand on its feet without a leader 24/7.
You know, I want everyone at home just think about this. 3 years ago, if you polled the entire crypto industry, who's going to jail first? CZ or Richard Hart? What do you think the poll would have said?
It's wild,
99%, it would have said the fat dude who's twerking in my face right now. And they got it wrong. They got it wrong. I'm just telling you, it's chaotic. Markets are more chaotic and random. I got tears in my eyes. Like, can you imagine from the future? Hey, CZ's going to go to jail.
Absolutely.
Richard Hart isn't. That just speaks pretty much everything. And did it change Binance? No, it didn't. Actually, Binance still has a chain. It's still the same as it was before. Did it increase? It didn't decrease. Okay, so that's funny. Also, the spirit of crypto is like pretty much like everyone going to jail at some point. Like it's kind of funny. So
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So you also mentioned about Charles Hoskinson. Now, I want everyone. Do you remember, Corey? You spoke about Charles. I did not know he made a poll. Am I a candidate to it? Or I'm going to change my tone, guys. Just think about this. How would PulseChain community react if Richard came out and said something like that? Okay.
Exactly.
The sentiment would go down. It would be the equivalent of Donald Trump going out and crying and like, oh, I'm really sorry, and actually feeling it, So they don't want to see it. So that's what makes them good. Cardano's community, they're a bit more like nerdy. They're a bit more
More technical oriented.
Yeah, they're a bit more technical guys, and they like these balanced approach stuff, right? They like that. So it speaks to the crowd that they appreciate that, and that they want to talk about this, because Charles is always like, let's talk about the hard questions. Let's talk about this stuff. So he's always Richard.
Right.
Richard doesn't say let's talk about the hard stuff. He says, I'm smart, you're stupid, I figured it out, you haven't. I made the coin go 10,000x. You're just like, you're just a kid on stream. And that's it. And everyone like, okay, it is what it is. So, but here's the thing, right? Different people drive with like different personalities and stuff out here. And it is great. And I always speak about Cardano because Cardano was the black sheep of crypto, okay? Cardano,
yes,
friends, I should have been 10 times heavier in Cardano in 2020. Why didn't I? Everyone knows this story. I was watching Chico Crypto, and Chico Crypto is very pro decentralization, but he kept speaking about how he's challenged Charles Hoskinson to a boxing match because he says Cardano is never going to release smart contracts and it's ghost vaporware, and Charles never took him up on it. Now, I wasn't using Twitter. I didn't know what to do. It's just a bunch of people talking on YouTube, right? So one of the reasons why my YouTube account very high value, I'm showing you lots of Twitter stuff that I'm posting and reposting. You're getting an idea of what everyone else is saying out there. I had no reference, right? So Cardano ends up literally blowing the roof out of that point. So I learned these lessons about like, wait a minute, this guy's fully decentralized, and Cardano ends up doing well. And it's funny. Cardano's like, it's like part of the furniture now. Now it's like there's a new black sheep out there, but they're not going away, right? So is that where PulseChain goes? Maybe, hopefully. I mean, look at the valuations, man. Like, Cardano's still sitting at whatever it is, like 15 billion. Like, this is still tremendous growth. There's still people who believe and everything out here, right? And the vision out here. So I think the personality of the founders, very important. I remember, if you remember, like, I think a year ago, I still remember a post from Toby. Toby one? Toby with his amazing mustache.
Yes.
I think he basically said, man, I just want Richard to come out and just say, like, yeah, things are bad, but like, I'm still here, and they're there. He wanted that. I remember him saying, like, that's how the crowd felt. Like we felt abandoned, we felt gone. Yeah. And Richard is like ruthless leader. No, I'm not doing anything, right? But that's why, like, I go a step further. A lot of people are just thinking in the here and the now, and what I'm thinking about is, hey, bro, if you made a coin go 10,000x, and you made a lot of people millionaires, and you saw, because I know for a fact Richard saw people, they didn't take profit, they had the chance to, and then when it went down, they called him a scammer. Okay, so
Yeah.
he's feeling like, I can't please everybody. Screw everybody. They're either going to learn or they're not going to learn, right? So that's part of his archetype. Okay, a lot of people criticize different personalities, but that's where they miss the whole point of crypto. It's no, in music, you can join, like, maybe you listen to a music artist and you enjoy their music and their vibes and stuff. Okay, but it can change your life in terms of making you feel good. But with crypto now, you can actually make money. You can actually, like, literally, you don't have to work for the rest of your life. So if you're able to remove your biasness from these and look at these from another perspective and just say, okay, I don't know what's going on here. I don't relate to it. But there's a lot of people here, okay? It's like a Kim Kardashian rally. Okay, she's like, worst mother of the year, pornos at the yin yang, Mrs. Plastic Fantastic out here. You know what I mean? Like, but if Kim Kardashian said to you, hey, I've got a makeup company that I'm starting, you're going to get in at 1 million market cap. You're like, I'm going all in. I get to buy Kim.
I don't care if I dislike her or not.
There you go. So I think in crypto, because we're so early, we still haven't figured out how these things really work yet. There's not enough cycles yet for people to realize, it's just like a company. Like, hey, if you buy Coca-Cola stock and it's 30% off the top, doesn't mean you love Coca-Cola and you love sugary drinks. It just means other people are out there do, right? So yeah, we're going to tie this in now. PulseChain and Richard Hart's personality. The best thing about, I guess, Richard Hart's spirit is it's always you do the work. You go do the work. It's always like you go do it. You go do it. And the community really takes it to heart. This is the fun, guys. The best example, just a microcosm example of everything was we are gate kept. Okay, so then go Pulse, make bubbles. Okay, but they gatekeep like one dude. He goes and makes his own. I think Mr. Pulse saw it. I forgot who it was. He makes his own freaking bubbles website, and he goes, "Screw you guys, I'm going to." Like, the gatekeepers started gatekeeping, like one guy. He goes, makes his own bubble. Everyone else does a bubble. It's hilarious how it happens, but that's what you want to see. This is like our anecdotal evidence that we're only going to succeed from here. Like, think of the attention to detail. Like, guys, they wouldn't even settle for a bubbles page. They're annoying to look at, but it's nice to look at visually, but you can't even see what's going on, right? So, but the question, how does a coin leave the central figure part? Unfortunately, also exciting, it's never been done before except Bitcoin. Okay, so we have sample size 1. We have sample size 1. Bitcoin has done it. However, the meme in everyone's mind is, which is just the idea, right? Bitcoin is digital gold. It is money. So money means long-term savings, which means I can DCA cash and I'll be all right in the future. Now, this is why the crypto industry, I think, is going to go through a tug of war in the next 5 to 10 years as people realize you're not as shiny as you want to be. I think what we're going to find is, I made a video, which is just the most mind-blowing thing. You can show gold against NASDAQ, and you can look at its ratio over time, and mind-blowingly, gold has been losing to NASDAQ over the years, over like 40 years. Now, to some people, they think it's obvious, but no, it's not obvious. How are growth companies that aren't even making profit, how are they dominating the oldest form of money in the world? And the answer is because slowly over time, humans, we're very smart creatures, right? When we see something works, it's exactly what Richard did. He sees something works, he takes a bit of its best part, he incorporates it somewhere. So you got your Googles, your Amazons, Apple, all of these are networks, okay? And Facebook as well. They're priced as networks. So they're global. And what you actually find is people don't need to just buy a lump of gold and put it in their vault anymore. They can store their value in, I guess, they're storing them in stocks, which is not as good as crypto, but it's a global network, okay? So I think that's what's happening in crypto. I think altcoins, what we call altcoins, including PulseChain, Cardano, they're taking the best parts of Bitcoin over time and they're incorporating it in terms of like what makes it sticky. And we're actually seeing it right now. Memes, cults, religions, okay? So literally PulseChain, like, 101, it's exactly like that, right? And I think over time what we'll see is these things will continue to slowly basically just take away this market share from Bitcoin in terms of like how people save and how people like invest. And if you look at the real ratio, right, gold against the stock market, it's about 10%. So gold's about 16 trillion. Stocks market, total world stock market's about 160. So that could be where the Bitcoin dominance is going right now. Right now, Bitcoin dominance is 60%.
Agreed.
So yeah. So I think over time, this is pretty much what happens. Okay. I don't think anybody like loses per se. I think the whole industry goes up, but that's ultimately where we go. But yeah, but obviously we want to know, right? The fact that we don't know how
we
does
got
it,
about a minute and a half.
yeah, that's okay. So yeah, how does an altcoin pretty much survive without a central leader? Well, we're running the experiment right now. That's probably why there's a lot of opportunity. So yeah.
Right. So I guess the question is, how do we go back to how does a community go on without a leader? I want to take away.
This is yes. I've been doing so much thinking about this, friends, and it came to me. It's gonna be just like countries because crypto networks. That's what a country is, right? Also, the cult. Everybody has a flag of their own country. Hey, I was born on this piece of land, and I have the tribe. This is my flag, and I love it. So what I thought is, well, there's going to be some countries that are just going to be a golden goose for a long time, just like some crypto, right? So probably Ethereum, probably Bitcoin. They'll be a golden goose for a long time. That's like America, okay? But then as well, you're going to have some of these bigger nations that sometimes they make a right decision, sometimes they don't. It might be more towards Solana, maybe even PulseChain's incorporated. Like think about like how China, how China's like, oh, China's going to get destroyed. No, wait, China's going to overpower America. Do you see how it swings with the volatility? Yes. Then you have like the European Union where you're like, everyone goes there, Europe, but then the economic decisions is like, there's a lot of like bad bureaucracy, just weird stuff going on there, right? So, but they still exist, right? Because they got the people. But then I also think about like, what about like, people go to like different holiday destinations and sometimes different countries, they can like improve their holiday destination for people to try to get their GDP up. And I'm wondering if crypto altcoins can do the same. And you know what we might find maybe instead of, how Bitcoin's leaderless, see, that's what we don't know, friends. That's what we don't know because we're so early. Is the future of crypto altcoin chains, is it for them to change the leaders over time? Is it like presidents, whether they change kind of like the forward leaders on top of the board, or is it to become fully leaderless, in terms of that? Not in terms of control of all the coins, of course, but in terms of like thought leaders and stuff, because we're all working these out naturally. I mean, look at Ethereum, right? Ethereum, great example. Vitalik quits at the top of 2022 when Ethereum was very strong against Bitcoin and they were doing the merge. He basically is like, I'm going to now step back. You don't need me anymore. And I was literally saying, well, I don't think so, dude. I think if the price went low enough, they're bringing you back. Now, it's funny, the ratio comes back down, but the price is higher. So Ethereum is no longer $1,000. It's gone towards 3,000, but the ratio is so bad because everyone knows they've lost Bitcoin value. They've literally called him up. They've called up developers to leave Igon Layer and other advisory boards to come back and speak to it, to come back and join the Ethereum team as well. They've called up Vitalik. Please come back to do that. So we don't really know, but that's also part of the excitement. That's why we're so early. This is why there's life-changing gains, because there isn't a formula. We shouldn't be like being scared of this chaos. We should be embracing it, because this is what means there's opportunity here. Because people are still experimenting and stuff. This is the part of the magic that goes on, sir.
Very well said. I think that it's very important to understand that cryptocurrency, you brought up a perfect point, that cryptocurrency is just like a nation. One of my first articles actually on Medium was talking about how a particular project I was involved with back in the day, Icon, was a digital nation, basically creating public representation for the populace of Icon. And I believe that cryptocurrency in itself, these particular tribes, are digital nations in their own right. And I guess the major question is, do these tribes become autocracies? Do they become democracies? Do they become anarcho-capitalistic? Do they become oligarchies? It's a major question on how a type of governance structure is going to operate within a community, because you have a lot of this zeitgeist in cryptocurrency that's still libertarian, where it's like, we want just decentralization, no figurehead. But then human nature comes in, and the hierarchical structure of human nature comes in, and it's like, okay, we have a matriarch, we have a patriarch, we have a leader. So it's almost like the the juxtaposition of ideals, where I want the libertarian virtue, but I also can't seem to weed out human nature to the point where it's like, okay, how are we going to survive leaderless? Because then quasi leaders are going to emerge, and I think that's what has happened in Pulse Chain, where basically, where Richard Hart has taken a step back, where you see quasi leaders in the Pulse Chain community that have stepped up, that have either built or streamed or tried to represent at particular events, that have created that particular model. So I think it's yet to be seen how this is going to happen moving forward. And I seriously wonder too how Pulse Chain would continue to operate if Richard Hart did come back full force. But over the last year and a half, I'd say Pulse Chain has done a pretty good job with being able to go from a very radicalized, oh, you can only like one coin and that's Hex, and if you don't like Hex, well, you get out of the community, to a very multi pluralistic society where you have meme coins, GameFi, DeFi, NFTs, and then the core tickers that many people sacrificed for. So I think we're doing a good job so far. I think growing pains are needed for any type of tribe where it's almost like we just got hit with, a ton of bricks where, where's the leader? It's a hierarchical thing. So, but I think we're doing a good job so far.
Yeah, so so interesting. These questions are about, is it going to be an autocracy or oligarchy? So I think of different chains that pop up in my head. Like some of them, they control all the coins. Some of them don't. Yep. The best part about Richard Hart's personality is he's very core to the American entrepreneurial spirit. Yes. And it was basically, how we always joke, let the market decide. Let the market decide. Well, in Pulse Chain, friend, this is why Pulse Chain's we got huge, huge, huge potential. Richard, as the leader, said nothing about meme coins. Nothing. Why? Right. It's because he knows. He watches my videos. I'm like, look, man, everything you used in 2020 to make conclusions about the market, I am now doing it and showing it now. People are buying memes, okay? People are buying memes. Now, I don't agree with it. Of course, it's just a picture of a dog, whatever, but people are buying memes. So I'm sure Richard's looking at it. He's like, okay, these have product market fit. It is what it is. Now, the best part about the Pulse Chain community is we always have the opposing opinions. Hey, just being one coin or being many coins. We do that. But we did let the market decide, didn't we? So people started throwing out memes and they have product market fit, what we discovered. So the best part about Pulse Chain is we learned from Richard's marketing. Richard's got like ST marketing. It's like the top of the top marketing, right. Okay? So his marketing, he looks at what works and he executes on it, okay? I think in Pulse Chain community, even like Hex Maxis and Pulse Chain Maxis, they know, oh my gosh, Solana is like gaining on them. It's not going to win maybe, but it's gaining on it. Look what they're catering towards. People are joining. People are excited. They can see that. Now, the next bridge is for them to admit that the Pulse Chain meme coins are awesome, but they can't say, oh, it's over there, those stuff, okay? But we're still making a step forward. And honestly, maybe we don't even need to get to that part. It's just this acceptance that we're letting the market decide. Like, in XRP and many other chains out there, like most of the community, they have to have board meeting, board meetings with the equivalent, right? Board meetings of the people on top and the developers and be like, hey, can you start supporting meme coins or can you do something with the foundation? We don't have any of that culture here in crypto. Like, just imagine we have to go through the Polkadot process. Oh, you have to go call someone and speak to somebody just to maybe accept these out. No, the market just runs with it, So that's why, in the next cycle, maybe memes are gone. Maybe it's a new gaming thing or a new DeFi thing. I guarantee you, someone like Alex, someone like any of the DeFi guys, everybody who builds stuff on crypto, even Mr. Dip Catcher, people who can build stuff, I'm guarantee whatever is popular or has product market fit out there in crypto, we'll have our own Pulse Chain one and we'll definitely make it. That's actually what strengthens the city, right? It's almost like, if your city didn't have a theme park, you didn't have your own Disney World, but you have people in there who will build your own theme park. You don't need to go to another country to visit it. That's how I'm seeing these things pretty much appear. I think that's what strengthens everybody as well. So, and everyone can see it as well. But it's kind of funny. We're letting the market decide, and sometimes you can even explore things with these ratios that they're surprising people. Like, for example, friends, controversial, but PDI, so PDI, right? Pulse Chain DAI. I think it's like only a 2 or 3x away maybe from flipping Hex from Ethereum market cap size. So do you see what I mean? So the people are like, wait a minute, people are storing more value in this than that. And these kind of like realizations, I think, are gonna like they're exciting for us over time just to see these appear. But we haven't. It's funny at the start. It feels like we don't embrace it, but we have such a cult-like mentality that whoever's holding them, because they're getting rich and so exciting, they overpower everything else. And it's kind of like Richard's taught his son how to do something, and now the son's doing the annoying thing at home to base. You know what I mean? I feel like that as well. It's for better or for worse. I think it's ultimately for the better, but it's just amazing to see these things play out in their fractals. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. I absolutely agree. I can only imagine what the future holds for PulseChain. I'm going to be here for it. I'm sure you're going to be here for it. You've literally become the, at least in my opinion, the literal leader of this particular community with the amount of video and content that you put out. So I just want to say to everyone who will be watching this on my channel, make sure to subscribe to your friend Sommi. I don't know how the man does it, but the man puts out content after content after content. It's actually extraordinary to watch. I don't know when you sleep. God bless you. I don't know how you do it, but guys, make sure to subscribe to Sommi, because Sommi is the S tier content creator, not just for PulseChain, but for cryptocurrency as well. I would implore all of you to subscribe to his channel, and I'll be putting that link in the description of the video.
thank you so much, sirs, as well. So for Corey's channel, for everyone in PulseChain community to know, Corey bridges people from outside of PulseChain. He does. People who are a bit more inquisitive, or people who want to see why things work, how things work, not just from a price perspective, but from moral perspective. So, you know, for example, there are people out there in the world, they're not looking at price charts like us. You know, they're looking, when Corey speaks about freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and things that are relating to PulseChain and Cardano, there are people out there, their ears perk up. And look what I just told you, that example. It just took Michael Saylor tweeting about Bitcoin on Twitter. Elon hadn't even owned Twitter at that point. He was just on Twitter. And look what it led to. It led to a freaking $1 billion purchase, you know? So one of these days, me, Matty Allen, Corey, one of us, we're going to be making that. I guarantee you, and we're going to hear the story later on. They go, oh, I watched the guy with the Pikachu hat who was getting interviewed. You know, it's going to be the funniest story, but that's how we all came in. So it's going to be great. I think 2025 is looking super optimistic. I mean, like, if you were to write this in a fairy tale and go, okay, what do we need for everything to go amazing for us? Everything's happening, literally. Trump wins, pro crypto, 10 pro crypto things, free Ross, Bitcoin strategic reserve, all these things happening. And also, what's for the better health of the ecosystem? Have a vibrant, fundamental undercore without Richard streaming, you know, which is exactly what's happening. So God bless everybody.
Absolutely. Sommi, I really do appreciate you contacting me, man. It's been really a pleasure. I want to do this more with you. I loved our first interview. I'm very happy we've done a second, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds, man. God bless.
Awesome, sirs. God bless you.